Thanks for joining me on this Friday of a holiday week. I hope you're enjoying the holiday. And if you're still working, keep it up. The week's almost over. Had a question come in from a financial advisor friend of mine asking if I could dive into a little bit more about the importance of an athlete or an entertainer getting an LLC or a loan out company. And I'm happy to cover that. So if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me, and I'm happy to cover any topic that you may want to hear about. So an LLC is a small company. It's not something you'd use for a structure if you're looking to take on investors. So if you had a tech company, an LLC might not be the best option. But for an athlete who's using an LLC to hold assets and maybe run a small company, it's rather perfect. And with the recent tax law changes that have come through, you can save a significant amount of revenue if you structure your LLC the right way, because you won't have to pay nearly as much in taxes. And so one thing an LLC can do is hold property, right? It's just like a person, other than the fact it can't vote. It can't do a lot of other things. But in a legal sense, it can do a lot of the same things an individual can do. So what I highly recommend is having that LLC hold some of those assets to keep them separate from the individual, just in case something happens. So if there's a bankruptcy, if there's a lawsuit, those type of things, you might be able to protect some of those assets. Now, another thing an LLC can do is generate money. So I highly recommend, and I will cover this later on, that athletes and some entertainers come up with some sort of branding or a logo that they can throw on a t-shirt, hat, other items, and generate some revenue through a drop shipping program, and really generate some extra money and some awareness for the individual, and run it through the LLC, so that way you can have a funding source that, again, you can run a lot of your expenses through, as long as you have a legitimate business purpose. Another thing the Loan Out Corporation does, and I had mentioned this in an earlier video, so go back and take a look. It can hold your name, image, and likeness rights. So for an actor, this would be any of your income from your time you're on screen, or if you're in print ads, if you're a model or something like that. And so any of that ancillary revenue for an athlete, or sometimes primary revenue for an actor or entertainer, can be run through your LLC, and you can save a whole lot of tax money. And it's really important that you consider that as you set up an LLC or a loan out. Now, another thing that I highly recommend with these LLCs is that you have your lawyer and CPA talk about this well before you decide to do it. It's not something you want to do in a rush. It can be done quickly and for very little cost, really. But it's important that you have that right structure, so not only they understand what you're trying to accomplish, but also that you understand. One final thing that you might want to take a look at is if you have friends or family that are dependent on you. If you're paying money to anybody because of your financial windfall from your career that they're benefiting from, you are going to definitely want to, rather than just keep giving them money, you can actually hire them. You can hire them to work for that company, and God forbid that LLC ever shuts down, you can actually terminate them, and it's not a bad thing, because you're going to give them a runway to collect unemployment and get a few extra dollars out of the thing before everything shuts down. So just some things to think about. Happy to answer any other questions, so reach out to me. Otherwise, have a great weekend. Thanks, everybody.